Hi everyone, small change of plans. I think my video will look completely different from how it normally looks because unfortunately, may she rest in peace, my Nikon camera died, so I am for the first time ever filming on my phone camera. So let us hope that this video turns out well because it is one of the longest videos that I'm going to be filming this year. So as a fair warning, get yourself something to drink, get yourself a snack like a box of cookies or something, or a bag of chips, whatever floats your boat, and let's talk about 2021 favorites. At the closing of 2021, I would like to, as usual, round up what my favorites have been throughout the year. And I think I've already done this in previous years, but I'm also going to talk about non-makeup favorites. So I'm going to talk about jewelry, skincare, makeup brushes, and then for the makeup portion of the video, I'm actually going to rank my products, my favorite makeup products. So without further ado, let's start with the non-makeup favorite portion of this video and talk about jewelry. Without a doubt, my favorite brand of the year in terms of jewelry is going to be Ana Luisa. I've done several sponsorships with them, including this video, and I'm really grateful that they approached me 1.5 years ago. They are currently running a bunch of really sweet sales, so just keep checking the website because the sales are always changing, and I think they're just going to get better as we approach Christmas and New Year. I have mounted here a small collection of Ana Luisa products, and I wanted to mention my absolute favorites throughout the year because even though I love all of them, I want to shout out a few of them which have just had a special place in my heart. So the first pair of earrings I want to mention is this beautiful pair of earrings over here, which are, in my opinion, some of the most versatile and elegant earrings you can have in your collection because I'm not going to change them now, but this is how they would look like on the ear, and they are just the perfect blend between not being too subtle but also not being too much in your face, and the little white pearl just makes them very versatile because you can pair them with literally everything. The second pair of earrings I absolutely have to mention because I've loved them so much throughout this year, and as soon as I show them to you, you will know why. So the earrings that I'm referring to is this gorgeous pair of earrings with this beautiful jade green stone. Did you guess it already? It's because of the green stone that I love them so much. They are not as versatile, but I would say still super versatile because the green stone just goes with a bunch of outfits. It would have actually gone really well with my outfit today, and as of recently I have really gotten into their ear cuffs. I'm actually wearing this one right now on my ear, and I've previously shown you this one. And this one goes together with another one of my favorite pieces of jewelry from Ana Luisa, which has been this adjustable ring, which, as you can see, has the exact same pattern as the ear cuff, so they go really well together. Just generally speaking, I have discovered a whole world of new possibilities when it comes to the adjustable rings from Ana Luisa. Finding the right fit of a ring, because it can be quite tricky. Your fingers expand, they shrink throughout the year. You want to be more versatile with how you wear your rings, because this ring, for example, I wear it on a variety of different fingers, which of course is not going to fit if you have a ring which only fits one size of your fingers, you know what I mean? So I absolutely love their adjustable rings. This is one of the most unique pieces that I have in my collection. It has these little like balls. I'm just quickly going to show you. Look how interesting that looks. Isn't that gorgeous? I have here two pairs of earrings which I unfortunately haven't been able to wear yet. I have this little set of 3 little studs which are meant to eventually go on my second piercing that I got right here. Right now I have the Suzanne Huggy. I mentioned a while ago that I fucked with that piercing way before I was supposed to. You're supposed to leave it alone for 6 to 8 weeks, but yours truly doesn't really listen to anyone's advice. So already at week 4, I decided to change it, and I found out that it was way too early for me to change it. So now it's 2 weeks later, and my ear on and off gets a little bit irritated, especially if I sleep on it wrong. So I think I'm going to leave the Suzanne Huggy, but as soon as I'm able to take out the Suzanne Huggy, one of the things I'm going to do is play around with these beautiful studs. Another pair of earrings that I have not yet been able to wear, even though I really want to so bad. This incredibly beautiful and elegant pair of earrings. They have this like super beautiful elongated shape to them. So when you put them on, they kind of like go here along the length of your earlobe, and they look so freaking elegant. They're going to go into my second piercing. They're going to go as a pair. I just cannot wait to wear this because they are so beautiful. And in terms of like a very unique pair of earrings, the ones that I'm wearing right now are super fucking cute. They have this little pearl thing and they have the little chain that goes behind your ear. I was a little skeptical about this because I thought, oh, I think that chain is just going to get into everything and pull on my ears all the time, but I've actually never had experienced it latching onto anything and pulling or being weird in any sort of way. Maybe if I wore a lot of scarves, which I don't, that would be the case, but I find this pair super fucking beautiful as well. And overall, I've just enjoyed working with a brand that is so incredibly professional. So all I can say is go check out their Christmas sales. Now let's move into the second non-makeup portion of favorites for this video, which is going to be skincare. And I want to preface this by saying that everyone's skin is different. Everyone reacts differently to skin products. So just because something has worked for me does not mean that it's going to work for you. But I want to mention my favorite skincare products because I have enjoyed them so much throughout the year, so I think they belong in this video. I have previously talked about Paula's Choice as being my one and true love when it comes to skincare, because I feel like you get such a good blend of actives packaged so well thought out that really do something for your skin for a relatively reasonable price. So generally speaking, Paula's Choice would be the brand that I would highly recommend to you. But the few products that have stood out to me this year in particular, actually, it's one product that has really stood out to me in particular this year, and it's not even one that I purchased myself. In the summer, I made an order, and with my order, I was able to get a free full size of their CBD oil with retinol, which comes in this gorgeous light lime green bottle. It's like a glass bottle, so it's quite heavy. This is meant to be an anti-aging product, and of course the presence of retinol there would suggest that it is what you're supposed to use it for. Now, what I really like about this is because, first of all, retinol is my star active ingredient when it comes to skincare. The 1% retinol from Paula's Choice is my absolute favorite skincare product of all time. It has made the biggest difference for my skin. But what I really like about this is that because the carrier is the oil, it makes the retinol so much softer and so much more pleasant on your skin, even if you're using it continuously day after day. The 1% retinol, I don't think you can use every day because it might actually like cause some flaking and drying of the skin. This one, I would venture, is quite safe to use even if you had the reactions to retinol before, and of course the concentration of retinol is slightly lower. But what I wanted to mention this product for is I started using it and then I just used it for like a few weeks consequentially, and I noticed an effect that I did not sign up for. Beginning of this year, all of a sudden, I had like a few hyperpigmentation spots that appeared here on my forehead, and I've always had one which is a bit lower here right underneath my temple, which you probably can't see now because it's hidden by a little bit of makeup. But what I noticed very remarkably with this product is that those hyperpigmentation spots started to fade. And at first I was like, what? This is not meant to be used for hyperpigmentation, to treat hyperpigmentation. What is going on? So I stopped using it. And then a few months afterwards, Paula's Choice actually released a product which is their discoloration repair serum with tranexamic acid and bakuchiol. So this is a completely new product in their lineup, and it is actually meant to target hyperpigmentation spots. So I ordered it immediately. I started using it for like a month, and then I thought, I feel like the CBD and retinol was doing more for my spots than this alone. So what I'm doing now is consistently using the two of these together. And what I can tell you for a fact is that my hyperpigmentation spot here on my forehead has faded to a point where I can hardly see it. And it was very pronounced a couple of months ago. And what is even more remarkable, the one that is here, I can see that the borders of it have started to fade, and it is actually decreasing in its diameter. It's really remarkable. Now, with that said, I cannot tell you for a fact what exactly in the CBD oil is doing the magic. Is it the retinol? Is it the CBD oil? Is it the combination of the two? Are these two together really stronger, or is this really the one who's pulling the carriage? I can't tell you. But for me personally, These two products together, and especially the CBD oil, has done magic. I'm absolutely going to repurchase this when I run out of it because it is an amazing product. Now, the next brand I want to mention is another one that I have spoken about before, and that is Foreo. And Foreo makes these little smart devices which use T-Sonic technology in order to deliver active ingredients into your deeper skin layer. I've been a fan of their technology for years. I use their cleansing device already for 6 years, I want to say, and it has made a huge difference for me personally, because as someone who has struggled with blackheads a lot, with a lot of acne, with a lot of really crappy cystic acne, I can tell you that cleansing device just changed my life. Last year, I mentioned this as one of my favorite new tools that I have purchased from them. This is their UFO device, which goes with those little sachets which contain Korean style face masks. So you basically put the little sheet that comes in here onto here, and then each sachet is a different type of face mask, and each of them comes with a different program that you can couple to your phone, where the app basically tells the device what to do. So it cools, it warms, it uses pulsations of a different speed. It's amazing. I already mentioned that I love this product so very much last year, but what I discovered this year, I've been testing out a variety of their face masks, and last year I told you that I tested some of the fancier versions, and I still thought that their two basic ones, the Make My Day and Call It a Night, so these two, this one has hyaluronic acid as an active and this one has olive oil, have been my favorites, and they're the most affordable ones because you get, I think, 7 for 10 euros. And I always buy them when they're on sale, by the way. So this year I went on a spree again to test a bunch of their fancier type of face masks, and the fancier face masks basically come in a box of 6 and they're around 20 euros if you buy them full price. So they're quite much more expensive. And I tested quite a few of them this year. And there is one that I have fallen head over heels with. You have no idea. And that is their coconut oil face mask. When I bought this, I was actually a little skeptical because it is known to be a little comedogenic if you're sensitive to it. But overall, I've experienced only positive effects from coconut oil in the past. I was feeling adventurous, so I thought, fuck it, I'm just going to try it. And oh my gosh, what an amazing face mask. Every time I've used this face mask, I have noticed effects that last throughout several days. So I will apply the face mask, and it has this very pleasant, like light, creamy consistency. It sinks into the skin very well. It hydrates my skin, it brightens my skin, and I feel like it just rejuvenates my skin, and I can see it not just for the few hours after I've used the mask, but for a few days afterwards, which is truly remarkable. And the second product from Foreo I wanted to mention is their serum. Now, serum is meant to be used with this device, which I also have from them. This is their Bear device, which uses microcurrent technology and T-Sonic pulsations in order to give a workout to your face muscles or something. I'm not sure how much I buy of the effectiveness of this device, but what I can tell you is that serum, which is the serum that is meant to go with this device, because you have to use water-based skincare when you use this device so that the current can be conducted. I would recommend this even without the device. What the device does, I feel like, is mainly push that hyaluronic acid, because this is a hyaluronic acid based serum, into your skin and just plumps it and rejuvenates it. But I feel like this on its own is absolutely amazing. It has this very lightweight, very liquid texture, obviously because it's meant to work with the Bear device. And it seems to be packed with hyaluronic acid, because my skin always looks so beautifully plump after I have used it. It is also one of the priciest skincare products that I've ever bought, because I feel like the only other skincare product that has cost me this much money is the 1% retinol from Paula's Choice, because this is around 60 euros if you buy it without a discount. Obviously, I always buy it with a discount, but with that said, what an amazing product. You don't have to buy the Bear device, but I highly recommend trying serum. And last but not least, before we move into the actual makeup portion of the video, we're now getting into makeup territory, and I want to talk about my favorite makeup brushes of 2021. In the past year, I have finally discovered full day brushes, and especially Sonia G brushes. So 4 of the brushes that I wanted to show, 4 out of the 5 brushes that I want to show you today are from Sonia G. So let's start with the 2 absolute standouts this year, the ones that I would recommend without the shadow of a doubt, and those are these 2 brushes from her Fusion series. So for those of you who purchased her Keiyaki set last year, you know that the Keiyaki set contained this magical brush, the mini base brush, which was only available in her set, which is an amazing blend of like synthetic and natural hair, and it is meant to be used with cream and liquid products. I fell in love with this brush, and I remember starting jokingly a petition on Instagram that Sonia releases this brush with a bigger brush head and a larger handle, and releases it as a standalone brush because it is an amazing brush and I would like to own 100 of them. And as the true fairy godmother that Sonia G is, she actually went ahead and released a whole line of brushes centered around the mini base brush, which are now called the Fusion line. So you can go ahead and purchase the 5 brushes that are available in that set separately. I'm not sure these are currently in stock, but I have another one of her mini base brushes. So this one is just has a slightly bigger handle because it comes as a full size compared to the one from the Keiyaki, which is a mini. And she also released exactly what I had envisaged to be the perfect foundation brush, and that is her classic face brush. It has a slightly bigger brush head, as you can see, compared to the mini base. So what I will usually do is I will use the mini base to apply my concealer and my under eye illuminating product, and I will use the classic base for my foundation. With that said, you can use the mini base also for your foundation. I have done that on quite a few occasions. You can use both of these to apply any of your cream products of choice. Cream bronzer, cream blush, cream highlighter, you name it, they can do it. Another face brush which really blew me out of the water is this little Koyodo mini fupa brush, which I purchased in the beginning of the year when I was, you know, like I said, discovering full day brushes. I wasn't quite sure when I picked up this brush whether it's going to be a good size, because as you can see, it is quite mini. This is it compared to the size of my palm. And I wasn't sure whether this shape of bristles and how dense they are is really going to be the best for application of foundation. What do you know? This brush applies foundation, cream, blush, bronzer, and highlighter like a fucking pro. Anyway, speaking of Sonia G and her Keiyaki set, I wanted to mention my 2 favorite eye brushes that came in this set. The first one is her Jumbo Blender. Excuse me, mine is a little dirty because I just used it. This brush is a champion in applying and blending eyeshadow at the same time for like one and done eyeshadow looks. The best brush for that I have in my collection. And the second brush, which I have talked about before as well, is this little flat definer brush. Just by comparison, regular MAC 239 and this mini brush from Sonia is... There is something about the shape of the bristles, the size of the brush itself, the way it just hugs here your inner corners, and the way it applies product. An impeccable brush. I really like this brush. Very multifunctional little brush. You can use it for your inner corners, you can use it for your lower lash line, you can smudge here product against your upper lashes and just make like a smoky wing if you wanted to. And without further ado, let's proceed into the makeup ranking portion of this video. Like I said, this year I'm actually going to rank my favorite makeup products from 1 to 10, and we're going to do this in ascending order. So I'm going to start with the 10th position. So my least favorite, but still, you know, in my top 10 of favorite makeup products this year is going to be the Voyeuristic Vixen Quad from Pat McGrath Labs. This was released with her spring collection together with the blushes and the highlighter and a bunch of lipsticks that I didn't pick up, so I never really mentioned those. But I really have enjoyed this quad throughout the year. I think it's needless to say that the real reason I enjoy this quad so much is this shade here. This is the shade Rosefire Nectar. Rosefire Nectar is one of those flaky, incredibly impactful, incredibly shiny, incredibly duochromy eyeshadows that just transforms any look from zero to hero in a second. I'm only ranking it last in my makeup favorites for no other reason but because, like I mentioned, it is the shade Rosefire Nectar that I've enjoyed so much. I do really like the rest of the shades. I think this taupey bronze shade is such a beautiful, neutral, classy shade. I really enjoy the tones of this matte, more like burgundy leaning shade. The champagne is nothing special, but you know, I like the whole quad. I think the shades work together really, really well. But what I've really enjoyed about it is the shade Rosefire Nectar. So I'm going to try to be good and not swatch anything, because otherwise we're going to be here for like 3 hours and nobody got time for that. At the 9th position, I have one of the new Lisa Eldridge lipsticks that she released for her fall collection, and that is the shade Cinnabar. Oops, that is not the shade Cinnabar. Excuse me, let me grab the shade Cinnabar. So this is the shade Cinnabar, which is a beautiful orange, brown, terracotta, red goodness that is perfect for fall, and it's just such unique colors for my personal collection. I've come to find out that it's not a super unique color as Lisa likes to describe it, because there are other comparable colors to it out there, but in my personal collection, Cinnabar is a very unique color. I have nothing quite like it, and I do truly enjoy the velvet lipstick, the True Velvet lipstick formula from Lisa Eldridge, because for a matte lipstick they are relatively comfortable, they last really well on the lips. They don't become too drying over the course of the day, or at least not all of the colors. And I think Cinnabar is just one of those colors that is so special to me. And I want to give a shout out and a honorable mention to one more of the colors, which is not new, and that is the shade Velvet Decade. Decade is a gorgeous, sort of like plummy leaning deep brown shade. I purchased this color relatively recently, and I did a video where I swatched all of my brown lipsticks, which I can link for you up in the cards if you want to check it out. I wanted to give it an honorable mention because, like I mentioned, not all of Lisa's lipsticks are created equal in terms of comfort, and I have to say this is one of the lipsticks that is going to feel a little bit drying over the course of the day, and you may want to remove it, and it may start feeling quite uncomfortable if you wear it longer than, say, 5-6 hours. But other than that, I think the color is really, really beautiful, really unique in my collection. I like how it looks on the lips like you dipped your lips in dark chocolate. So beautiful. At position number 8, we have another Pat McGrath Labs eyeshadow palette, and that is my Utopian Dream Mothership 9 eyeshadow palette. Now, this came out a couple of months ago. It was a bit of a polarizing release because some people were like, fuck this, we're done, Divine Rose 3, we don't want it. And others like me were like, well, actually, I kind of enjoy the palette. So I kind of enjoy the palette. It's at position number 8. Because I enjoy it, but I don't think that it is the most groundbreaking, revolutionary product that Pat McGrath has ever released, although it contains some pretty awesome formulas, which is why I love it so much. And it is also partially the eyeshadow palette that I'm wearing on my eyes today. This is the Utopian Dream palette, and I've actually been enjoying using it, and I've been pulling it out quite a lot. And I have to say, for me, the standout shade in this particular eyeshadow palette has to be the shade Astral Venusian Orchid. Is this beautiful, super flaky duochrome shade, which shifts from a very light pastel sort of pink to green gold glitter. It is, I find this shade to be one of the most beautiful shades for layering together with other Pat McGrath palettes. And I think overall this is quite a beautiful color story. I don't think that it leans too pink for my personal taste. If anything, I find it to lean more on like the coral and peachy side. So I don't really mind this eyeshadow palette. I've truly been enjoying using it, which is why it is in my top 10 of this year. One of the releases that I have looked forward to the most, because I always look forward to Mother releasing a new Mothership palette. We are getting up into the ranking. At position number 7, we have another Lisa Eldridge lipstick release, but this time we're not talking about her velvets, we're talking about her luxuriously luscious lipsticks. Let me grab them. So the luxuriously luscious lipstick formula, I don't actually know whether I'm pronouncing this right. It might be lucent. I don't know. I might be pronouncing this wrong, in which case I apologize. So these are Lisa's cream lipsticks, but they are not even cream lipsticks. They are more like a very buildable lip balm. I have two shades. I have the shades Spirited Away, which is like a more neutral rosy brown. and my absolute favorite, which is the shade Atomic Cherry, which is a very warm coral red shade. And I find them to be so versatile just because of how buildable the formula is. If you want just like a nice little lip stain, you can go for one very light layer, or you can just build and build and build. And as you build the color, you will also increase the amount of shine and how luscious it looks on the lips, and also of course the pigmentation. And you can stop at any point and be satisfied with it, or you can just keep going, and it never gets too much, it never gets gunky, it never builds up on your lips to a point where you're like, wow, I applied 10,000 layers of lipstick. It just builds and builds and builds, and I love it. And then when it wears down a little bit like a stain. Next up, at position number 6, we have the Melt Cream Blush Lights. So earlier this year and this whole year, basically all the brands have been releasing cream blushes left and right. And I didn't pick up everything that was out there. I picked up a few of the formulas to try out. And one of my favorites that I tried this year has to be the cream blush light formula from Melt Cosmetics and the whole lineup, because they released that beautiful, very monochromatic, like orange, peach, terracotta leaning color range of blushes. And because those are my favorite types of blushes, I did actually pick up 2 colors. My favorite one of the 2 that I picked up is the shade Sundown, which is this beautiful sort of like bronzy terracotta brown orange shade with a bit of a golden sheen to it. I chose this color because it is so unique. It looks like a beautiful sunburn on your face, and I really enjoy the formula. It has that thickness and waxiness that you would think would be very sticky and uncomfortable on your skin. That's not at all the way it applies. It just looks like a very like dewy cheek. I do actually have a video where I have demoed both the colors that I have. So this was the shade Sundown, and I also have the shade Lynx. And the only reason I didn't include the shade Lynx, which is more of like a orange burnt pumpkin color, is because this is probably not as unique of a shade as Sundown, but I love both of these and I use them all the time, and I think they are absolutely fabulous. At position number 5, we have a very unexpected, no one saw that coming, least of all myself, little palette from Nars. Nars is not a brand that I've ever like looked forward to their releases, let alone their eyeshadow palette releases. One of my friends, Ems here, mentioned it, and a few days after she mentioned it, I watched a video from Charlotte called Croft where she demoed this palette, and I fell head over heels with the color story. Isn't this the most perfect muted fall winter eyeshadow palette color story that you've ever seen? I wish Pat McGrath would come out with an eyeshadow palette that has a similar color story, because this is in the bull's eye. And not only did they strike gold with the color story, but the formula in here is surprisingly very, very good. The matte eyeshadows in here are very soft and very blendable, and the metallic shades in here, which are quite a few of them actually, the blue, the green, these 2 neutrals, and this more like satiny taupe shade, they are remarkable. They are so shiny, they're so sparkly, they're so elegant on the eye without being too much. They give you a little bit of that glass wet effect on the lid without really turning you into a disco ball. So if you are someone who does not really like the Astrals from Pat McGrath because you find them a little bit overwhelming to wear during the day, this is something you're really going to enjoy. And in particular, I want to mention, of course, the green and the blue eyeshadow, because I think they're such interesting tones. This green is that olive green, but not an olive green which leans to gold or to like taupey brown. It's a very muted taupey green. It's very interesting. I don't know how else to describe it. And the same counts for the matte shade over here. It looks like a matte olive green, but when you apply it, it has a little bit of mutedness and a little bit of like those neutral tones which ground it and make it so incredibly wearable. And this blue, oh my goodness, what a beautiful unique blue. It is that steel grayish silverish blue, which is blue but not too much. So this little 9 eyeshadow palette came out of nowhere, stole the show, and it is ranking up as one of my most favorite palettes this year because it has earned its spot. It's just that good. We're going to take a little interlude so we can swoon at how cute Mona and Lisa are looking right now. Look at that. They're cuddled up sleeping together. Isn't that the most cute thing you've ever seen? Ooh, now it is getting very, very interesting because we're moving slowly into the top 3. But before we move into the top 3, at the 4th position, we have another Pat McGrath eyeshadow palette. And some of you are probably going to be surprised to see the Celestial Odyssey ranking pretty much the highest in terms of eyeshadow palette releases from Pat McGrath this year, because it is not a mothership, it is not an eyeshadow palette that contains any sort of classic special formulas from Pat McGrath. There are no VRs, no Astros, no Blitz in here. These are just your regular metallics, more sparkly metallics, not even that much duochrome shades. But I truly enjoy using this eyeshadow palette. I've been pulling out for it all the time, and I come up with so many different looks. I am happy with every look that I have created, and there are very few shades in here that I can criticize, and I will criticize them mostly for the fact that they lean berry and pink are just not my tones. So you have this shade, this one, that are like berries and pinks, whatever. We've seen berries and pinks from Pat so often that at this point I think we can like body paint ourselves with pink and still have some left over. Even though there are no special formulas in here, to me some of these eyeshadows feel really, really special. I am absolutely in love with the shade Bronze Nova over here. It is one of my favorite neutrals now to wear in my collection because it has that beautiful like bronzy, browny, goldy shift to it. The shade Citrine Envy is unfucking believable. It is the most beautiful, like warm toned green with like a lot of sparkle and a lot of shine and a beautiful finish to it. I just love the combination of the colors. You can do really like beautiful, like warm toned fiery looks. You can do something very cool toned. You can go smoky. I like very much the tones of the two mattes that are included in here. So the more like caramel matte and this deeper brown matte. I've been reaching for this palette to use just these two shades all the time together with other Pat McGrath palettes. I don't know, you can say all you want about this 18 pan palette, but I think it's fabulous. I love the eyeshadows in here, I love the combination of colors, and I've been reaching for it a lot. So yeah, it is my favorite Pat McGrath eyeshadow palette released this year, and it is ranking at position number 4, very much well deserved. Dun dun dun! Top 3. What ranks in my top 3 makeup products of the year? At position number 3, I'm ranking my Pat McGrath highlighters. Dame Mother kind of went bonkers this year, and she just released like a bunch of highlighters in a bunch of different formulas, and I purchased all of them because I'm a nut job. I don't want to rank all of them at the 3rd position. There is one in particular that I'm going to talk about in a bit, but I wanted to mention the Divine Rose 2 highlighter, which has a beautiful blitz-like formula to it and like this pinky gold finish. Looks gorgeous on the skin. I would like to shout out the Lunar Nude highlighter, which is her holiday highlighter release, which has more of your like VR type of finish to it. And last but not least, at the true 3rd place this year, I am putting the Golden Nectar highlighter from the spring collection release because I cannot stop using this highlighter. I think I've used this highlighter 70% of the time that I've highlighted my face this year, ever since I got it. And the ironic thing is that when I first did my video on the whole like spring collection release, I said that this was nothing special, it's just another powder highlighter. Fuck me, it's not. It's so much more than that, and then some more. It has that gorgeous like lightweight silky formula to it, and it looks flawless on the skin, and on me it has a bit of like those warm golden tones. I don't know, it looks beautiful on the skin. I have been pulling it out all the time, and I can't always like rationally tell you why I'm pulling out something, but deep down it means that I really, really like it. And that has been the case for the Golden Nectar highlighter. I don't know whether you can tell just from the use I have on this pan. And I've only had this since May of this year because that is when this collection released. I've used it quite a bunch and I've enjoyed every single moment of it. And I'm curious whether this is going to surprise you or not, that I'm ranking face products above eyeshadow palettes. But at the 2nd position this year, at my top 2 makeup release and makeup product of the year are the Pat McGrath blushes. I have a total of 5 of the colors, but I don't want to show you all of them because there are 2 colors in particular that definitely are my top 2. And I'm going to start with the one that has my heart, the blush that I could use every day until the rest of my life, and I'll be a happy panda. And that is the shade Desert Orchid, which is the most beautiful, like rosy, bronzy, peachy color with a bit of a sheen to it. On someone with my skin tone, this just looks so flattering. It is the perfect everyday blush that goes with everything. What a beautiful blush. And there's something to be said about the formula of her blushes. I also said in my original review, they're just powder blushes, but they're not just powder blushes. They have a little bit of like that thickness to their formula. They look so nice on the skin. They wear so well throughout the day. They never look like they're a powder on the skin. I don't know what she did. I don't know how she did that, but somehow she managed to once again exceed my expectations. And I'm eating my words for saying that the blushes and the highlighter were just like powder formulas, because they're not just that. There's so much more. I've been using them like crazy this year, and like I said, I could live the rest of my life just using Desert Orchid. But if I had the option to choose, you know, something also that's a bit more fun, then I would go for this spectacular color. That is the shade Electric Bloom, which I originally didn't buy or didn't have any intention of buying, because it is one of the deeper colors. It is this gorgeous, this is the most vibrant coral blush that I've ever seen or owned. But as the months went by and I learned how to love, appreciate and use this formula, I realized that I could use every blush in that lineup, even the deeper colors, as long as I'm using a very light hand. And you've seen me use this blush quite a couple of times by now on my channel, and you've seen how lively it looks on my skin and how it just livens up my whole complexion because of the undertones. It is such a stunning, unique color. And at the number 1 position, my most favorite makeup release by far this year, without a doubt, and probably to your shock and surprise, is going to be Glow Lust by Auric. Auric is the brand that was started by Sam Ravendal. Sam Ravendal is a YouTuber. She's one of the better known faces on YouTube because she's been around for quite a few years. She started her own brand, and one of the first products that she released is this beautiful liquid luminizer called Glow Lust. I don't really have much to compare this with. The only other liquid luminizer that I have is Strobe by MAC, which is still a very different product. But to me, this is so unique, so elegant in every imaginable way, from the packaging to the actual formula, which is so incredibly elegant, so incredibly versatile. You can use this to mix in with your foundation, you can use it as a highlighter on your cheekbones, or you can use it strategically like I do, which is I apply it underneath my eyes in order to give my under eyes the appearance of, you know, being a bit more plump, a bit more lit, and a bit more hydrated, because that is something that I really struggle with. My under eyes always look very dehydrated no matter what kind of concealer I use. I have to use very, very creamy formulations underneath my eyes in order for them to not look like all the life has been shrunk out of them. And this product is not just a makeup product. I feel like it's also a bit of a blend with skincare. So this is how Glow Lust looks like. It is a very thick cream. And then once you start to sheer it out, it just becomes one with your skin, and it leaves you with that gorgeous, healthy glow. There is not even a speck of glitter in here. It is just a sheen, a beautiful, youthful sheen. And the reason I'm ranking this first is not only because, in my opinion, it is a very innovative, very unique, and a very sophisticated formula, but it is also something that I've been reaching for every single day since it arrived in my house, which was sometime in the end of February. I ordered this in the end of January, then it took about a month to come in, and then I have been using it religiously every single day since then, sans the 3 days that I used Strobe Cream by MAC, just so I switch it up a bit. I love this so much so that I purchased myself a backup of the color that I use all the time, which is the shade Selenite. And I also went ahead and purchased the shade Citrine recently, which is this beautiful sort of like deeper, bronzier sort of tan color. But as it turns out, it is a little bit too orange to use as a bronzer. Let me show you. So what I do intend to do with this is maybe use it as a cream blush, or sort of as a bronzer blush 2-in-1 kind of thing during the summer, and it also pairs really well with selenite. Like I can mix the two together to create a slightly more like golden leaning sheen to selenite, because selenite has a bit more of like a silvery pearl to it. Not silvery, but like a white pearl, which makes it look a bit more cool toned. And when you mix it in with citrine, citrine gives it a little bit more of that beautiful gold sheen. So I'm curious what you think about my ranking. Did you see it coming, or are you surprised at the position some of these products are taking into my yearly favorites ranking? Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out the Christmas sale by Ana Luisa, which will be going on for quite a while. And like I said, the deals are just going to get sweeter and sweeter. Let me know what your top 3 favorites have been this year, and it doesn't have to be makeup. You can also include jewelry, skincare, brushes, or any other category like perfume or whatever that you feel like mentioning. Ana Luisa and I are signing out.